Hello everyone, hope you all are doing well. Welcome to the lecture number 3 of the AAA, which is Professional Skepticism. Dear students, in the previous two lectures, we have started with the money laundering, which was the first topic in which I have given you the complete understanding about the money laundering. What is the money laundering? There were three stages: placement, layering, and integration. Then after each stages, we covered the auditor's responsibility. Then also we did past paper questions on the money laundering. The next lecture, which we have conducted on the topic professional liability. If you remember in the previous lecture, lecture number 2, professional liability, I have told you that the auditor's liability, auditor's responsibility is not just toward the shareholders. There is a word liability in tort, means auditor is also responsible towards the stakeholders. In the stakeholders, we have all the members, either shareholders, members, investors, suppliers, customers, whatever the organization, whatever the person has direct or indirect interest in the company are called stakeholders. Dear students, if you remember the initial stage discussion which we have on the overall objectives of the auditor, in which I have told you that the auditor's responsibility is to obtain reasonable assurance that financial statements are free from material misstatement. Yes, sir, we know this thing. You have been mentioned this similar responsibility in so many times. But now, what's the point to discuss the same thing again and again? There is a thing. Why? Because this stage 1 series covers the auditor's responsibility with respect to a specific element. So whenever we will learn any new thing with respect to auditor's responsibility, then we will start with the overall objectives of an independent auditor. So you must understand this thing, my dear friends. Now, what is the auditor's responsibility? To give opinion that financial statements are free from material misstatement. Then also I have discussed you that there are three-party relationship. In the three-party relationship, I have told you about the auditor, about the shareholders, about the management. Then I have told you about the subject matter. The subject matter in the audit we have is the financial statement, because we are auditing the financial statement which is prepared by the management to ensure that financial statements give true and fair view. Sir, what is the meaning of true and fair view? True and fair view means financial statements are not misleading. Financial statements are not telling lies to the investors. The assumptions, the uncertainties, the judgments, the estimates used by the management in preparation of the financial statements are correct, are accurate. Sir, can we say that financial statement must be correct? So it means the financial statement gives true and fair view. Yes, true means free from error, true and fair. True and fair means free from error and free from any biasness. Okay, my dear friends. Now, after this thing, I have told you about the elements, about the principles of the audit. I have told you that there are three principles in the audit. The number one is the professional skepticism. In today's lecture, we will discuss about the professional skepticism. The second is the professional judgment, and the third is the independence. Independence we will cover in the stage number 2 lectures, my dear friends. Now, what is the meaning of professional skepticism? If you just focus on the word skepticism, it means to be in a doubt, benefit of doubt, to always ask a question. But before skepticism, there is a word professional. It means the doubt you have, the doubt which an auditor have must be in a professional way. It's not like you have a doubt on your friend or your girlfriend have a doubt on you. That's a personal doubt. But there we have the word which is professional. So it means the auditor doubts on the evidence which is obtained from the management. Are you getting my point? Sir, can you link it with any example? Of course, why not? This is my duty. Let's go with this example, my dear friends. Let's say let's say you and your couple of friends are going to perform the audit of ABC company. Before entering the client premises, you were outside and waiting for the supervisor or the manager who will get you and take to the inside. Now, dear friends, while waiting outside the entity premises, you saw a purchase killer, a person who just parked his BMW, and the same person was going in the same entity where you will go for the audit engagement. Okay. Now the manager comes and take you along with your audit team members to the same premises. While obtaining the understanding of the client and their employees, you identified or you came to know that this person is the purchase killer, means the person who just parked his BMW is a purchase killer. My dear friends, focus on the word purchase killer. The role of the purchase killer is so less than the role of the purchase manager, the procurement manager. Purchase killer role and responsibilities are just normal. If purchase killer, my dear friends, have BMW, so this sudden increase your professional skepticism. How this is possible that the purchase killer have a BMW, my dear friends? Are you getting my point? So by doing this skepticism, by doing this understanding, the level of your skepticism must be high, must be high. So here the level of skepticism should remain high. This standard professional skepticism tells us that the auditor should maintain professional skepticism throughout the audit. What is the meaning of professional skepticism? Professional skepticism is an attitude that includes a questioning mind, being alert to the condition on which you identified that the purchase killer just parked his BMW. So what is the definition? Is an attitude includes a questioning mind, being alert to condition which indicate a possible misstatement due to error or fraud. Now, theoretical assessment of the audit evidence. So these are three things in the definition of the professional skepticism. Means you must have a questioning mind whenever you will identify or you will see any such thing. So you must start questioning, but in a professional manner, in a professional tone, my dear friends. Okay, it's not your wife just came to you and asked who was calling you, just show me your phone. No, this will not work in the organization, in the corporate sectors. You are an ACCA, you are a future certified chartered accountant, you might be an auditor in your life, my dear friend. So you must act professionally. Okay, so questioning mind, being alert to condition. What is the condition in my example? Purchase clerk with BMW. Now, critical assessment of audit evidence. Whatever audit evidence you will get with respect to the purchase area, with respect to the payables area, you will critically assess either the purchase clerk made any error or fraud in the payables, in the purchases. So now this area is a high risky area for you. Why? Because it directly linked with the purchase clerk and with his BMW. So look, just a single event without going into much detail, without performing any procedure, this understanding gives you the idea either to perform the level of skepticism high or not. So this is called risk assessment stage. Are you getting my point? So this is how we as an auditor do the risk assessment at the planning stage. Okay, my dear friends. Yes sir, now we are linking. Okay, that's great. Let's do another example. This is the professional but more personal example. Okay, not my personal, like most of you will relate to this example. Okay, dear friends, let's say you always came house around 11, 12 or 11:30 p.m. Most of the time your wife was sleeping when you arrive home. One day you arrive home and she was not sleeping at that time, and while coming to the home you start spending time on your phone rather than talking to her. Now she realized day one. Same thing happened in the day two, day three. So this thing continues for the 1 week. Now, dear students, there is a skepticism. Against you. She might think that there is a something hunch. It means my husband start ignoring me and spend their time with someone else. But that someone else is not the one which your wife start thinking. That someone else is your colleague, male colleague, is your boss, is your line manager who asked you to update this thing in the morning to other colleagues. So as a responsible person, as a responsible corporate person, you are doing your next day targets right now. Are you getting my point? So this is called personal skepticism. In the organizations, in the audit, you have to maintain professional skepticism. Now link this thing with the ISA 240 fraud. Sir, which is our next topic. Okay. Sir, is auditor responsible to prevent and detect fraud? No. Look, auditor is not responsible to prevent and detect fraud. In the day one, I have told you about the reasonable assurance. There are inherent limitations due to which auditor cannot provide absolute assurance. So if auditor cannot provide absolute assurance, so how auditor is responsible to prevent and detect fraud? It means if auditor is not providing an absolute assurance, 100% assurance, so there must be an error or fraud. So that is why it is not the auditor's responsibility to prevent and detect fraud. Sir, then who is responsible to prevent and detect fraud? It is the management responsibility, TCWG responsibility to prevent and detect fraud. Sir, then what is the auditor's responsibility? Auditor's responsibility is to maintain professional skepticism throughout the audit. Why? Now I am linking it with the initial objective, overall responsibility of the auditor. Auditor's primarily responsibility is to maintain professional skepticism throughout the audit to identify whether financial statements are free from material misstatement. So, sir, can we say that auditor should always maintain professional skepticism throughout the audit? Yes, sir, from day one to day end. Yes, always auditor will maintain professional skepticism, no matter either the client is new or existing. Auditor will always maintain professional skepticism. Are you getting my point? So now, dear friends, let's talk about the few things which the examiner tested in your past paper questions. Let's say if there is any case study in which examiner mentioned that the client is a new client and asking the auditor or the audit firm not to perform the procedure in this area as we have not yet performed the work. Also, the client is asking the audit team not to do any control testing. Why? Because these controls are not operating effectively. Now, dear students, there are two things. If the client is already ensuring that their controls are not operating effectively, so you don't need to waste your time by performing the procedures. It's just like you are going to purchase a mirror, and the person just told you that this mirror is not good. The quality of this mirror is not good. If you just throw it out, it will be damaged. So will you try to do it? Of course you will not. But what if the person claim that if you are throwing this mirror, it will not be broken into pieces? Of course, then you will try. So similarly, if the client already tells us that the controls are not operating effectively, so we will not perform any test of controls. But what about the procedures in that area on which the client has not performed their work? Now, dear students, remember one thing. Auditor should always maintain professional skepticism throughout the audit. If client is not allowing you to perform the work, so this is a scope limitation. And how to account for this scope limitation, we will cover in the stage number 3, my dear friends. Now, what if the client is an existing client and still the client is not allowing the auditor, or client saying no need to perform the procedures on the payroll as you have performed the procedures last year. Also, client is saying no need to check the controls as these controls you have already checked in the last year. My dear friends, here again you have to maintain professional skepticism throughout the audit. No matter either the client is an existing or new client, no matter either you have performed the procedures on this specific area or not, no matter either the client control testing you have done in the last year, all these things you have to do in the same year again. Why? Because you are appointing for this year. So it means you have to do work for this year as well. You can't say, no, we have performed the work last year, so now we will not do again all these things. It will waste our efficiency. It will waste our time and resources. No, dear students. If you are thinking like this, then your responsibility will become the liability. What if the payroll was overstated and there is a material misstatement, but due to lack of working, you have not performed the procedures and you have issued the clean opinion, clean report, and the investor once identified that there is a significant fraud in the payroll, now you will be liable. So in order to protect yourself, you must maintain your professional skepticism throughout the audit. So these are the things that the examiner tested in your question. Sir, now professional skepticism question can be tested individually. It's very, very rare. So it means no, it can't be tested standalone. But it is and it will always be tested in your exam question. Sir, how? In other questions, you have to pick the keyword. Sir, from where we will get those keywords? Don't worry, I am here to help you. So I have listed down each and everything. Now, dear student, we are done with the complete understanding, complete discussion on this topic, professional skepticism. Just we did in the previous 2 topics as well. So again, repeating the initial discussion is very, very important. So you all must listen very carefully. Why? Because it will help you in making the base of the concept. Definition, in which we have component, auditor, duty of care, then we have attitude of. So these things, attitude, questioning mind to integrate critical assessment of evidence provided by management. 3 elements: attributes, personality trait of the auditor. Mindset, questioning mind being alert to condition. Action is the response of the auditor as a result of any problem identified through the application of PS. Sir, we have not understand this thing. Don't worry, just understand the definition. What is the definition? Professional skepticism is an attitude that includes a questioning mind being alert to condition which indicate a possible misstatement due to error or fraud, critical assessment of audit evidence. That's it. Now, when does auditor apply professional skepticism? Throughout the process of audit, means from day 1 to day end, right from client screening to planning to gathering evidence and to evaluating evidence, mean in all stages of the audit. Areas in audit where auditors should exercise high degree of professional skepticism. Whenever there is a word must, should, it means it is 100%. Planning, assess risk assessment. Remember my example, risk assessment, the purchase clerk. Auditor identifies risky areas in financial statement, purchase payables, and in risky areas, auditor should apply high level of professional skepticism. Alert about fraud in the financial statement, the purchase clerk example. Management estimates and the risk of management bias in making estimates and including the going concern assumption or assessment. Management omitting disclosures from the financial statement, such as related party disclosures. When you are reviewing the financial statement and if there are any disclosures which are not given, or if given but were incomplete or omitted, so again it is still a departure from the requirement of the IFRS, so it's a misstatement, my dear friends. Alert about compliance with laws and regulations. These are all the future topics. Sir, then why you have mentioned these things right now? So once we move forward, then I will start linking each of these things. Just now I linked the professional liability. Okay, importance of professional skepticism. This is very important for your exam as well. Professional skepticism at the stage of planning helps the auditor in identifying risky areas within the financial statement, which results in auditor being alert right from the stage of planning where to focus on during audit. Further, professional skepticism helps the auditor to exercise questioning mind when gathering evidence during field work, during audit, and helps auditor inquire management plenty of times during audit, and this results in better evidence for auditor. It's just like whenever you will identify any information, so you must do questions. You can't say, no, I am a shy person, I can't ask a question. If you are a such person, then you are not an auditor, my dear friends. The professional skepticism also helps the auditor to critically evaluate the assumption and estimate developed by management and recognized. Why? Because assumptions and estimates are such things which are vary from entity to entity, person to person. If my assumptions about you are different, your friend's assumptions about you are different. In the financial statement, to conclude whether the estimates are appropriate or not. So this is the complete topic, professional skepticism, but it is highly tested in your exam. Sir, how this is tested, how this can be tested? There are not so much thing. Yes, this is the beauty of the AAA. There is no such complex things. There is no large data. There are concepts which you have to retain in your mind, and all the concepts which I am giving you in the start of the lectures, that will help you to pass, to secure good marks in the AAA in the first attempt. Why? Because all these discussions will help you in solving the past paper. So again repeating, initial discussion of the lecture is very important. Now this is the past paper questions. Don't worry, we will do all these past paper questions in the next class along with the professional liability question. Remember, then we have a technical article. Again, this is your duty, your right, your responsibility to read professional skepticism article. Why? Look, I have given you the complete concept. I have read the notes as well. Now, in the summary of article, once you start reading the article, so you will start linking it other concepts as well. So that is why in every lecture there are some routine work which you have to do for your understanding and for your better clarity. But still, if you have any doubt, so I am here to help you, my dear students. So look, I have given the summary points for you. Again, no need to go to the ACC site and read for the technical articles. That will take a lot of time and you will not understanding things from there as well. So what you have to do, just stick to my notes. Trust me, these notes will help you in passing your exam in the first attempt. Yes, this is a huge claim, and I know why I am saying this. Then this. Look, this is my book. From there I have taken a picture and mentioned a screenshot here. Okay, so I have a separate book on the audit. Look, part D, case studies perspective. Application of professional skepticism in case studies. These are all the things which you have to memorize, which you have to remember. Why? Because these things will help you in connecting the professional skepticism things. Now, this is the complete summary of the professional skepticism for your understanding. Wait. Now, again, a same thing, pictorial understanding. That will again help you to understand the professional skepticism just we did in the money laundering and in the professional liability. Sir, why these? Why so many things? These are not so many things, my dear student. I try my best to cover each and everything in the 5 slides. Still, if you are saying these are more things, sorry, I can't say any more. Now the question is, why all these things? Look, right now you have a lot of time, so you can read all these things. But once you are closest to your exam days, then you don't have enough time to read the complete note. Then what you have to do, once you start reading, once you open the notes, you start from here. Let me show you something. Let's say you just open this document. Once you open this document, so my dear friends, once you open this document, so you have this definition. Once you have this definition and you are going to scroll down, so by the scrolling, all the data, all the discussions which we are doing right now will start rephrasing or reshaping in your mind. So this is good for your muscle memory. This is good for your brainstorming as well. Now, so what you have to do, just scroll down to here once you are near to your exam days, and you will do your revision from this one particular image, my dear friends. So now, dear students, we will meet with another video. Till then, take care and goodbye. But make sure you guys should never stop your studies.